Hi everybody, this is Steph with Stampin' and Scrappin' with Steph, and today I'm going to share with you a super fun project um, that I made using some new product. If you've viewed my previous video with the triangle flat pocket card, then you'll be a little more familiar with the product suite that I'm using, which is called Gingerbread and Peppermint, and that can be found on page 19. Page 9 of the new mini catalog. If you're one of my customers, you should, if not, have already received one in the mail. If not, just be on the lookout and shoot me a message if for some reason you don't get it before August. And if you're somebody in the market for a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, feel free to send me a message. I'd love to help you out and share with you all of our Stampin' Up! Fun projects. Be sure to like this video, click subscribe so that you can be notified when I pop on here and share some videos. Like I've said before, it's been a minute since I've been able to get on here and really record again. Getting in a groove has been kind of difficult with everything going on, which I'm sure many of you can relate. Finding the time to create and record, you know, has been a little bit of a challenge, but I really love Stampin' Up! So I'm making it a point to really schedule, even if it's, you know, once a month, just to get on here and share with you. So again, we have our celebration that will be starting with a $50 purchase. Any $50 purchase, you can choose a free product from this catalog. If you spend $100, you can either choose two products for free, or from a different selection, you can get one of our level 2. Excuse me. Also using this 'Tis the Season stamp, that is actually from this product suite, which is Painted Christmas. It's such a really, really pretty suite, and that starts on page 17. If you're familiar with when Stampin' Up! Had Painted Autumn and I think Painted Seasons, kind of that kind of vibe, but it's really, really pretty, and you can see it has this cherry cobbler and copper ribbon, I believe it is, some gold leaves, this really pretty paper, and then the dies that coordinate. And in this suite, it's 2 stamp set bundles, so 2 dies, 2 stamps. All right, so here we go. For this particular project, it measures 2 inches by 5 inches tall, so it's a good size box. And I made these for the point of a Stampin' Friends blog hop. Our theme for July was Rewind and Redo. The point of that theme was to take some old projects that we've, you know, made in the past, bring them forward, remake them with something new. And I thought it was really a fun way to showcase some of the new product using a project that I love making. And back when I was doing more vendor fairs and pop-up shops, this was a box that I made all the time because it holds these little lotions, lip balms, little makeups, hand sanitizers. Like, it was very versatile to make multiple of, and it puts, you know, comes together really quickly. Not a lot of adhesive involved, and it folds flat until you're ready to use it. So you could make many of these and then fill them when they're needed. So for this one, I used this gingerbread cookie pattern. For the box that I'm going to make, I'm going to use this pattern. Now, I don't typically put anything on the back side. As a demonstrator, I would share the Stampin' Up! Angel policy as well as my business information. But if you are just a hobby demonstrator, you're not looking to sell anything, you can just, or I mean, you could still just put paper and still put your business stuff on it, but I prefer having that solid back. I am still going to use Old Olive as my base. And you will need a sheet that is 8.5 by 10. And these DSP tabs are 1 3/4 by 4 3/4. And like I said, I did 3 to get these little snowflake cutouts here. I am actually using the designer series paper, the Gingerbread and Peppermint. And I'm not sure if I'm putting in the right spot, but there would be 2 more on this side. And using the dies that come with this bundle, you just cut it out. No stamping involved. How fun. And that's the back side. So you could, you know, flip them over and coordinate that way. So I just did 2. I am also using the metallic mesh ribbon, which is right here on the box. And of course, I just took a little piece because all I'm going to do is take it and tie it in a quick knot, just like that. And I'll trim the edges based on assembly. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Trimmer. For my scoring, you could pull out your scoreboard. I'm going to start with the 10-inch side along the top, excuse me. And you're going to, what I like to do is I find it easier when I'm doing a smaller score to use this side of my trimmer. So I'm going to line it up, make sure I pull my blade down at a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to score. And then I turn it and then start going this way. And you're going to go 2.5, 7.5, and then 9.5. Okay, turn it, doesn't matter which way, but turn it to 8.5 is at the top. And we're going to score every 2 inches starting at 2. So you're going to go 2, 4, and as I mentioned, 6. This was a project for a blog hop, so I will link the hop in my comments below or my description below so that you can find all the details on this. All right, so now we're going to create the box. So I'm going to begin, because we're going to do some trimming, I prefer to fold all my score lines first. It's easier for me to cut, and it will show up more for you guys in the video. And, you know, lighting in this space is just an ever-changing challenge. So as long as you can see what I'm doing, I'm done fussing with my lighting. You know, maybe one day I'll have some overheads that don't cast quite the shadow, but for right now, I think we're okay. All right, so now you have with the 8.5 at the top, okay, so we've got 2-inch strips all the way, and then one that's a 1/2 inch. And then you've got this 1/2 at the top and the same at the bottom with this 2-inch section, okay? So now you need to trim away some things in order to create your box. So here's one that I did. I actually made the box 8.25, which doesn't really matter. It just gives you a skinnier strip here versus the 1/2 inch. Personal preference, whatever you like. So as you can see, when we cut, the top and the bottom match. And this little flap is what you adhere to. And then you would fold some flaps down, and this tucks in to close your box. So the only adhesive you need here and wherever you're decorating. So it's, you know, nice, like you can get together, make a lot of these quickly, not use a lot of adhesive up. All right, so in looking at this, you can see we have gotten rid of this bit here. We've trimmed along these two and snipped them down because you don't need them to be the whole length. And then we've cut out this section here, and we've done the same exact thing, like I said, in the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to start with my 1/2 inch strip on my left-hand side, and we're going to start snipping. So you don't need this here. So we're just going to cut this section out. going to cut down my score line here. And then I'm just going to give it a little trim there. Okay, this one we need to keep. So I'm just going to cut the score line, cut this score line. This one we just need to trim across. And I was a little crooked on that one, but that's all right. And then this bit we don't need at all. Now, these types of boxes, you can search Pinterest. There are so many options and so many great demonstrators out there that do share box projects for all different sizes. So if you can find one that works for you, that somebody has already made, you know, that's the joy of being a paper crafter. All right, so same thing. Remove this section, cut out a little bit there. We need to keep this one, so we'll just trim down. And then I'm going to trim this score line and get rid of here. And cut across there. All right, and that is your box foundation. Now you could save some of these smaller pieces if you were, you know, stamping some greetings that you needed a background or some bits you're cutting out. I don't tend to keep many little scraps because they just build and I never get to them. So now I'm going to take the detailed trio punch. I'm going to use the corner rounder part, tuck this in, and spin it. The rounded edges give it a nice finished look, but also makes it easier to close. And I just flip it all over the place. If I wasn't recording, I wouldn't twist and, oops, wrong side, twist and turn so much. But, all right. Use whatever corner rounder you have. But this one's great. There's 3 little different doodads on there. All right, so now this flap right here, I know when I put my box together, this section here will be my back. Okay, so I know I'm not going to put a designer series paper on here. You certainly could, but I skipped that. So I am going to take my paper, my stamp and seal, and just add some adhesive to my edges. And this one, oops, I'm kind of going off camera here. All right, so this one, this one, and this one. Now when you cut your paper, you could certainly glue it so they're a continuation of one another. You don't have to, but I think it's pretty when it's a pattern. All right, so for this side here, you would use, you know, a stronger adhesive, so like a Stampin' Sale Plus or some tear and tape. I like to use the Tombow multi-purpose glue. Okay, I like that it gives you a little bit of wiggle room during assembly so that if you don't get it lined up quite right, you can move it around. So usually if you cut it just right and score just right, you can just fold over and set your adhesive right down. And like I said, you can feel that you got movement, and then eventually it will set and you'll feel like the resistance. And then there you go. So there's that. So whatever side you like is the top or the bottom, so you just fold your sides in. It just tucks right in there. Just like this. How simple, right? And again, like I mentioned, it fits snug. And there you go. Fold it flat until you're ready to add something in it. All right, so if you prefer to decorate with your box being flat, your front is going to be the one with the two longest flaps, the two flaps that tuck in. So you would focus on decorating this one. Okay, I am just going to assemble it. All right. And that one I kind of bent a little bit. So I'm going to use this one as my top. Put that there. All right, as I said, I've already done my little snowflakes. I'm going to keep my assembly pretty much to what I did on the original box. So you're going to need a piece of Whisper White. This is the stamp set from that pine cone, painted Christmas bundle suite. And this is the 'Tis the Season one. And you can see there's all these others, but this one fit nicely across the front. So now I'm going to use Real Red. And this is what the stamp, it is our clear mount. And it's one of those stamps you really want to make sure you ink right so you can get solid stamped image there. And put that aside. I want to give this a second to dry. I mean, our inks dry rather quickly, but just because it's so much ink, I don't like to touch it right away. So now I'm just going to take my scissors, my snips here, and I'm trimming around the stamped image, just like that. Okay, and then there's my grading. So what I did is I added adhesive to one of my little snowflake cookies, kind of set it off so it hangs off a little bit. This one I'm going to add a couple dimensionals to the middle. And then I'm going to add a dimensional to the back of this one, and I'm just going to snip the edge. You could use the mini dimensionals, those are great. All right, so now peel this off. And I think just about there looks good. And I think I'm going to go opposite. I think I'm going to go on this side with the 'Tis the Season. And get my little mesh ribbon here. I'm going to add it to a glue dot. Now obviously I took a lot of ribbon when I cut it. You could use far less than I did if you don't want to waste. So now I'm going to just tuck that there. And trim, let's see, some of the excess. All right. What do you think? Super cute, right? And so you can fit a couple different things in there. I mean, obviously I wouldn't give lotion and glue at the same time, but you know, it could be a unique gift for somebody. All right, here are my projects today for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Happy stamping, and I'll see you next time.